And do you have the Bills on?
The what's on?
You got the Bills hat on, right?
Oh no, this is a purple hat. It's a South Beach, Miami hat.
All right, I'll take South Beach plus the points.
There you go. Well, we're going to discuss Miami and USF, I believe it is. Anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Matt. This is John. Today, we're excited to be talking some college football Saturday slate. Before we get started, though, I do have a pick that is for Friday night that doesn't matter because it is already in progress. But I took the over in the um, Illini taking on the Cornhuskers in Nebraska there. So we'll see how that goes. But 10-10 right now, the current score. I'm excited about that. I actually bet them. I'll put a $5 bill on that. Talk to me about Lincoln, okay?
Well, tell me something.
Yeah,
The line on the game was pretty big. I mean, if it's 10-10,
yeah, it's like
what
nine,
are they
nine,
at?
or yeah, 9.5, or I think it started at 9.5, went to nine maybe for the spread.
Okay, and they're in what quarter? How much left?
Second quarter right now, 2 minutes left, 10-10. Over under was 42
Oh,
point five.
oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Obviously, I got nothing to say about that. By the time this thing, gets posted, it'd be too
Mhm.
late anyway. We don't want a cheap one. So let's talk Saturday. What's up? Although I did go on earlier. Hopefully, anybody who cared to listen, all three of you
Mhm.
saw that I was really liking the 13 points in the San Jose State Washington State game, and Washington just coming off of victory against Washington, who was in it for a championship last year. So let's take those 13 because I think it's too easy for Joe Better to say, "Oh my God, all they need to do is win by 2 touchdowns and we cover." That's easy money, and that's why I say it's not easy money,
Mhm.
and that's why I like the points. So let's move on to Saturday. What do you say?
All right, sounds good. So tomorrow, which today's Friday, we got UCLA and LSU. LSU is a 21.5 favorite, and it's similar thing that we just discussed earlier about taking that extra half point, how it can just kill you. Even a couple points can kill you, especially in larger spreads. You might have a great pick, but then guess what? You get your toes cut off, depending on when you pulled the trigger. But yeah, what do you think about that game, John? What do you think about that line in particular?
And now, well, first of all, tell me who you like. I'm
Well, I'm on
really
LSU. I'm on LSU to cover that.
okay. So and so am I. I like your pick because LSU, they've been really suspect. SC made them look real bad,
Mhm.
and they look bad. They haven't looked great, and so I think 3 touchdowns is that's a lot. It kind of flies in the face of what they've shown us thus far, and so that's big enough a number for me to actually like them to show up. If they're going to have any chance to play in anything significant in the postseason, they're going to have to turn that stuff around, and I mean like now. So yeah, give me LSU. I'll lay that.
All right, Utah number 12 at Oklahoma State number 14 from the land. I believe right now Utah is -1, so it's essentially a pick 'em. I'm on Utah on the road in this one. Not a ton of forensics behind it. I just have a feeling about Utah on the road. That's why I'm taking them.
Well, the Bible tells us not to trust our feelings, but you know what? I actually feel the same way. The 12-14, that doesn't make a difference. The fact that the road team is favored by one kind of supports the fact that if the wise money goes on them, it's actually going to be giving more points to the home team when they're really kind of a coin toss in theory.
Right.
In fact, the Big Ten schools, Big 12, what do you want to call them, Big whatever, they it's much more of a power conference, and so that would lend itself to them actually having more money going on them and not less. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go right with you and take the road team in this. I think they're going to handle their business. Good job.
Well, I like somebody that handles business. All right, next game, Miami of Florida. -17 on the road against USF, University of South Florida. I love Miami in this. I think they cover this.
I don't like that number. I never like laying that number. I just don't. Historically, it's never worked for me. It's a number that I've studied. So I'll take the points, and we got $1 on this one.
Well, what's our dollar jar at right
I'm ahead of you.
now? You are? You've been keeping track?
I haven't had to.
It doesn't matter. You just know.
No, I don't say that to be a big deal or anything, but
Mhm.
yeah, but so far in the dollar thing, I'm okay. But we never pay dollar bets.
No, yeah.
I owe my brother Scott a few dollars, and he'll probably never see it. It's just kind of a way of saying bragging rights.
He's not getting that cup of coffee. Certainly not from Starbucks.
Yeah, he doesn't drink it.
Uh,
Good for me.
yeah. So a game that I want to talk about is Florida State's because we've discussed Florida State this whole year. We've had an opinion on pretty much every game, and here they are at home, and they are a favorite, a 2.5 point favorite at home against Cal, traveling from your neck of the woods, California. The Cal Bears come to town. They meet the Seminoles.
Amazing, this bitter intra-conference ACC rivalry, the California Golden Bears against a team that's been absolutely awful. They were the number 10 team and lost outright to a nobody. Then they were the number 10 team again and lost outright to another nobody. Cal, I want nothing to do with this game. I have absolutely nothing to like about either team. So this is all you, buddy.
Cool. I'm on Cal. Next game, Tulsa at LA Tech. La Tech, baby. Let's get it done. -3 at home against Tulsa.
Tulsa looked strong enough against a really big program, but that may have just been them covering the points when they were expected to get rolled. So I'm going to need to see more data. And that's just like Vegas. This week, even in the NFL, we're seeing so many legitimate lines that it really gives me little to talk about. And,
Yeah.
yay for the people who actually watch this. I don't have to be so long-winded, but
Mhm.
it's just kind of one of those weeks where we need to get more raw data before we can go out there and throw out lines that are going to make Joe Better say, "Oh yeah, that's a lock," and then
Right.
Get punked on the head on it.
Yeah, the games have just, I mean, there hasn't been a ton of, super competitive football games yet. We're still not playing the division. I mean, that's just how it slowly comes to be. The reason that I like LA Tech against Tulsa is because Tulsa dropped one to Arkansas State a week ago, and then they also lost last week. 2 weeks ago, they lost against Arkansas State. But either way, it's all very exciting.
But they played Oklahoma. They were against the Sooners last week, no?
Cowboys.
Yeah, or Oklahoma State, but they covered that, and it wasn't that big of a line either. So yeah, I'm just going to stay away from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No sense in sticking it out there for games that just seem like legitimate lines because I'm like anybody else in that regard. I could kind of go through the X's and the O's and this and that, and injury reports and weather and temperature and previous records, blah, blah, blah. But that's just not who I am, and that's not who we are here. So I'm staying away from that.
I like that. All right. South Carolina, we talked about them. We were on them last week, I believe, against.
We covered, but we almost nailed that money line. They gave up a touchdown on the very last drive with less than 2 minutes to go. That sucked, man, because that would have been 2 in a row on those big, deep, long shots that we money lined and with the points. But oh well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? But bottom line is we were a winner on that.
Absolutely, 100%. So South Carolina this week, Akron comes to town. South Carolina -27.5. I like South Carolina to cover.
I don't like any team that should cover when they're okay. That a line like that in a game like this, 4 touchdowns covers. I want to see more. If it were 28.5, I would say, okay, I'll go with you on that, because to me at that line, it's kind of a coin flip. So, I'm just going to throw $1 against you, Matt. I don't want to, ruin your pick because it's probably pretty good. It's sound. I mean, they should win by a lot, but it's too easy for Joe Better to say, can they win by 4? Because that's really what you're saying. Yeah. If they win by 4 touchdowns against a really bad team that's only 1 touchdown a quarter, then I cover. If it's 28.5, I have a completely different attitude. And that just shows you, how messed up in the head I am. And so I'll put $1 on this with you and give me those points. I expect it to be a little closer than that.
Sounds good. Yeah, you're a complete psycho, John.
I know, dude. I know. We all do.
This game's interesting to me. Minnesota's at home against Iowa. Minnesota hasn't allowed a point the last 2 weeks. I think the line is 2.5, and I like Minnesota money line at
Well,
home.
it was just last week, I believe it was last week, where you and I put $1 on Iowa. You took Iowa, and I said, no, 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 no. They're not even favored by home field advantage against their number one bitter rival. Give me Iowa State, and Iowa State beat them outright. So Iowa's got a little bit of catching up to do. And so after losing at home to Iowa State, the lesser team, that tells me it's time to jump on them, because I believe that the other team's more of a darling. And so I just see more money going on them for no other reason than that. If I expect more bets on one side in a game that has a pretty fair line, then put me on the side that has less money, because they just don't give it away.
So you think Minnesota has more money on them right now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like you said, to your point, they haven't, their defense is great. I mean, people aren't scoring on them, which means, how do you go against that?
Right.
And they're going against a team that just lost to, their little brother, basically. And so, there's going to be some Iowa pride. Yeah. So go ahead and talk us up on that one.
Heard. We passed the Gamecock video already, though.
Yeah, we didn't need to hit that one again.
Tennessee -7 at Oklahoma. Highly ranked Tennessee team. I think they're 6th now. Are they 6th, 7th? I don't know. But they play Oklahoma. Oklahoma's somewhere in the mid-teens ranking. To me, Oklahoma has not done a ton to make me feel like, hey, this team is like the potential juggernaut that they could be. To me, this team could be outside the top 25, could be, not even ranked in the top 50 by year's end. That's crazy to say. That's too far. Probably more like 30. But the point of this is I like Tennessee, I like what they're doing. They've just been crushing people. Yeah, poor schools and everything. But Oklahoma last week, they played Tulane. They didn't look that good, honestly. I mean, it's Tulane. I mean, they got cute jerseys, but let's go.
Yeah, the Green Wave, they covered.
Yeah, they did.
You know what? I have to totally go with you, and for a slightly different reason. I mean, if they're on the road and they're favored by a touchdown against a ranked team, let's go ahead and just apply that home field advantage to that, because that would be a full 7 to 8 point swing. And if they're already 7-point favorites on the road, do you see this game as a 14-point line if it were played at the other stadium? The answer to that, in my opinion, is no. That's just too many points. So being on the road, 7, that's an awful lot to give a ranked home team in front of their home crowd. So I will also go ahead and back your action on that, Mr. Matt, and lay those points.
We'll put $2 bill on that one.
Well, we're on the same side, so.
I know.
No. Yeah, well, what the heck?
But we'll play against each other. Play like blackjack against the house, baby.
That's right. We want to bet with the house always.
All right, so this game is my pick to win it all this year. Ole Miss at home, the Rebels, right? They play Georgia Southern. Ole Miss is a 35.5 point favorite, and I like them to cover.
I can't go against that. It was just a 3 or 4 games back where I was on a different side of a pick as you, over just simply where that extra half point was sitting. You laid the 27.5. I said, no, I would take it at 28.5, but since it's not, give me the points. But you said 35.5. That means they need to win by more than 5 touchdowns in order to cover. And so, sure, I mean, I'm not that bullish at all on the game, but the line itself, there's no way I could say, give me those points. So I'm not betting the game myself, but if I had to, one way or another, absolutely, I would lay those points.
That's awesome. Thank you for agreeing. That 35 and a half, it's that extra little hook, right? And that extra little hook.
Well, 35 and a half, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But when you're talking that much, the hook really only applies
They can put it wherever
when
they
you're talking
want.
like three, when you're talking 3 points,
Mhm.
because a field goal is usually what decides those games like that. And so 3.5, not really home field advantage, maybe home field advantage, but it's I usually take the points when you have an inferior team on slightly inferior team on the road and they're getting 3.5,
Mhm.
where I actually like playing both sides. I like to bet the favorite to win outright, but the points to cover, because what happens when you have a true hook, which is 3.5, is you have three bets at play. The thing about it is you have the home team, where all the people betting the home team are laying the 3.5, and most of the people that are betting the underdog, since it's so low, are betting it at like plus 150 ish on the money line, and they're just completely foregoing the points. And so that 3 points is like it's like all other bets lose. And so Vegas can really clean up on that type of thing, and that's why they call it the hook, because they hook you. Either way, you get hooked. If you bet the money line, damned if you do. If you lay the points on the favorite, damned if you do. And so the smart money's in the middle, although it's not attractive at all. And so just the masses of people simply just don't play there, and that's why it's so dangerous.
Well, this is why we do the show, so John can explain things like that to us. Forensics, man. Love that. Thank you. Was there games that you would like to discuss?
Well, I'm next week. I think is going to be a really big game, and I'm just following the money on it right now. That's Alabama and Georgia, both undefeated teams. Alabama has looked so much better than I expected them to. Without Saban, I kind of assumed that they just wouldn't have recruited as well, but he was still there when they brought in the players for this team, and they look really good. And perhaps Saban was just nothing more than a recruiter, kind of like Steve, Levine or whatever his name was at UCLA with basketball. They
Mm.
made him a coach. He was a terrible coach. He was a recruiter. Maybe that's all Saban is. I mean, it doesn't take much to hire a bunch of hookers and get a bunch of you know people coked up, and yeah, bring me there, a free degree, and all endless party, and yeah, let's do that. But I don't know how great of a coach he was, because they were definitely sliding as a program, as other teams really focused in on the top players, the Ohio States, and of course Georgia, even Clemson. There have been other teams that have kind of taken over for Alabama, but I'm not saying they're back, but they're back and they're legitimate. And going against Georgia next week, I believe it's in Tuscaloosa, and it's a 2 point line in futures right now, with Georgia favored. Georgia's the 2 seed, Alabama now the 4 seed. That's going to be a big game for us next week. I only really have one other game. I did the short on the game tonight earlier, but the Thundering Herd getting 39 against Ohio State.
Hmm.
And I don't like betting teams when it's like a 9 in the ones digit, because it's almost like saying not quite 40. So, hey, it's better than 40 to make people want to,
Yeah,
lay that number.
it's like when
But
an item, it's 99.99.
yeah, it's not 100. And so it looks like a smaller number. 39 looks so much smaller than 40. But I'm going to disregard that completely in this game, because the Thundering Herd last year beat Notre Dame. Oh, then again, that's what Notre Dame does. They lose against a total patsy. It's just kind of what they do. And so the Thundering Herd getting 39. I mean, that's a program. I mean, they brought us the likes of Chad Pennington. Wow. And, and of course, Randy Moss, who never won a Super Bowl, by the way. But they're a legitimate program, the Thundering Herd. I don't expect them to get rolled on. I just don't see it, because basically 6 touchdowns they would have to lose by. And that team's just got a little bit too much program. I mean, across the lines, they're always, at least decently solid. They probably have decently solid skill players. They'll probably move the chains a few times, and that burns time. And the clock is the enemy when you're laying that many points. And so I like Marshall tomorrow plus 39 against the team I have picked to win it all this year, Ohio State.
Great take, John. Thank you. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here. Unless there's anything else. You got any more games? Any more insights for us?
Not a damn thing. Not today.
Not today. All righty.
Maybe tomorrow.
Well, thanks a lot. Let's call it a video, and please make sure you like the video, subscribe, smash that notification bell, all that stuff.
Did you just say smash that bell?
Yeah.
Man. Seriously?
The Liberty Bell.
Did we go there? All right. I'll catch you on the next one, Matt.
All right, dude. Later.
Ciao, ciao.